How y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Empty table. What's that all about? Empty table. What's that all about? Well, we are getting close to Gobble 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 Day. And then next it's going to be Ho 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 Day. So, since Black Friday is coming up and Christmas shopping is coming up, I think I'm going to do a series of about maybe 2 to 3 videos, depending on how fast I can do them, how much I can get in, information I want to get in, of my holiday suggestions for knife lovers, for gifts for knife lovers. Folding knife lovers in particular. But I do have a few fixed blade suggestions too. But you guys have seen a lot of my fixed blades I like lately, so I don't think I need to go over that again, rehash that again. But I just want to sort of go over like the knives I've been carrying this year. Well, first let's do this. What's that? Well, this was a package that I received and I did a video of. As you can see, I had everything all taped off here. I did a video of, and I didn't like the video. And so I never published the video. So, in order to get on to what I'm going to do next, I sort of need to do this first, because this is going to be part of my suggestions. So let's open this up. And this was coming from Blade HQ. Blade HQ. The reason why I know it's Blade HQ because that's their insignia. Blade HQ. And yes, it's the sin cuts. The other 2 sin cuts I told you guys I was going to get. Nice little sticker. I'll show you guys. And these are the sin cuts. And I think you say this name Sachet. I'm not sure. That's one model, and the other model is the Crawley. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that name right. As y'all know, my favorite of this series is the Watuga. The Watuga, I just love that name. I can't remember if these came with a whole lot of stuff or whatever. Let's take a look at one of them real quick. Let me see. Is that sealed up? Just a sec. Okay, these come with like a little pouch. I'm just going to show you. The knives aren't in these boxes. The knives are in my rotation drawer. I've been already using them. They're not new knives anymore. They've been used. But this is stuff that came with them. All the normal sim cut stuff. I guess you guys are getting used to seeing all this stuff now. So let's just go ahead and close this up because we got a lot to talk about and move on to the other stuff. But these are the ones that the new button locks. These are Plunge-Lock knives. The new button locks I tried out that I didn't do a video. I did a video, but I didn't do one that I showed you guys. So I'm gonna set this aside. We're done with that. And let's bring out my rotation drawer, because this is the end of the year sort of video where you guys get to see the knives that I liked for this year. These are the knives that survived with me. I've tried out more knives than this, but these are the ones that survived with me throughout the year. They got in my box and stayed in my box. And I absolutely love them. This is the Sachet. It's an awesome knife. That's the Sachet. Absolutely love it, people. This one is a lot like the Conspirator. For those of you that like the Conspirator, Sencut and Civivi and We are all the same company. I don't know if you guys know that. We is like the top of the line, top shelf knives, the most expensive ones. Then you got the Civivi. Civivi used to be the budget line, but now Civivi is the intermediate line, in between the budget and the most expensive. Sencut is now the budget line. Sencut are the most inexpensive Wee knives, I guess you could say, or they're coming from that factory that you can get. It's a new division. The quality is just as good as all the others. The quality on these is awesome. But I just want to show you that these knives are very similar. The Conspirator has a slightly larger handle. I don't know if you guys can see that. But look at the blade shape. And look at the handle shape. And they're both Plunge-Locks. Blade thicknesses. The blades are exactly the same length. This one though, for those of you that have a Conspirator and always wish that you had a button lock, I mean not button lock, but a thumb stud, instead of having just to use the flippers in the finger flicks, or I could slow roll it and everything else too, but it's mainly like a flipper knife for the Conspirator. This one has a thumb stud, so you got the thumb studs and the flipper. These come in all sorts of different colors. As you all know, I like that natural G10. I just love it. And I plan on dyeing a couple of these like different colors too. I want to do one in purple. But this knife is awesome. It might be my favorite out the bunch, to tell you the truth. I don't know. It's the finish on it. I don't know if you can notice, like on the pivots, it's got like a higher gloss finish on the pivots, instead of being like stone wash. The blade has a different finish. It's not a stone wash blade. It's a beautiful blade. It's got like a satin polish or a satin finish to it. It's not a mirror finish. It's like a satin finish. Is that the best way to describe it? Like a satin finish, but it's not like it's not a shiny, super shiny satin finish. At this level of finish, if I wanted to, I could make this look like a mirror real easy with the way I polish things. This would be very easy to polish all the way out. But I'm gonna leave it like this though. I like it like this. Because one thing bad about when things are too polished is that you get fingerprints on them real easy. But this knife is awesome. The other new one that you guys haven't seen, I never did a video of, is the Crawley. This one's nice too. Feels really good in hand, but it feels more like a classic American knife. For those of you that like more of a classic American style folder or shape or design, this one would be more for you, I think. It feels really good in hand too. And like I said, they make these in all sorts of different colors. These are just the colors I picked out for myself. Absolutely love it. All these function perfectly. They're perfect. They're just like the Civivis. If you like Civivis, you'll like these. Sencuts. The Sencut Plunge-Locks. And just like Civivi offers 3. These are the original 3 from Civivi. First came the Cogents, then came the Conspirator, then came the Chevalier. Now with these, I don't know which one came first, but the first one I got was the Watuga. I love that name, the Watuga. Watuga. Wakanda forever. That was an awesome movie, people. I saw it on premiere night. It was awesome. It was awesome. Saw it November 10th, not November 11th, November 10th. I had to see it. Had to go to the premiere. It was awesome. Watuga forever. Absolutely love this one. But that was the first one I got with this one. These were the first ones I got, the Cogent. And then I got these at the same time. I'm calling it Sachet. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think it's spelled S-A-S-H-E or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm even spelling it right. Where's the box? Well, okay. Let me see if I got this right, people. I'm sorry. Crawley. S-A-C-H-S-E. S-A-C-H-S-E. And these have all natural G10 handle skills. And the blade steel on these are all D2. These are all D2 knives. I think I forgot to mention that too. And the blade thickness, these are like 3.5-inch blades with a thickness, I think it's like 2.8 millimeters or something like that. .96, 3 millimeters. 2.96, 3 millimeters. And just to compare it to the one that's most light, the Civivi, 2.96, same thing. This one's made from 9CR Damascus, and it holds the edge very well. I've used this knife a lot. I've used this knife more than any of the others. And it holds its edge awesomely. I've only sharpened it once. This one is, I think it's a 14C28N or something like that. The Swedish Sandvik steel. And I think this one's the same kind of steel. I think this one's Swedish Sandvik steel also. The Cogent. All these knives are excellent. I highly recommend all these knives for Christmas gifts. I think any knife guy would absolutely love these. Absolutely love these. There's the Crawley. Okay, the next one up I would highly recommend, that I've tried out, is the Lago. I love this one. This one feels the best in hand. This one feels the most safe. You know, like if you had to use it for a self-defense tool. This would be the one that I would choose out of all these that are this size, you know, because all these are 3.5-inch knives. I do not really care for 3-inch blade folders because always the handles are too small for my hand. The only folders that have 3-inch blades that I really like are these, the 80-20.5s and the SOG Kikus, XR Lock Kikus. But this one feels really good in hand. This feels, I don't know if you ever held a Spyderco Sliver Axe. That's another one of my favorite all-time knives. But this handle reminds me a lot of the Sliver Axe. It feels really comfortable like that. And it feels like I'm really safe with it because if this knife comes unlocked, it's not going to fold in on your hand. As long as you're holding it like this, or even if you're holding it like this, it's not going to fold in on your hand. So I think of this knife as being fairly safe. Even though it doesn't have the strongest lock type like a Triad or a deadbolt, it's still a very safe knife because of the way that it's made, the way that your hand sits inside of it. And this one has like a 2.65 thickness or something, or 2.7. Right in here is like 2.75, and right back in here it's like 2.65 or something like that. It's a little bit thinner back here, and it's thicker up towards the front of the blade. I don't know if you can see that. Just the way it's ground. Very nice knife. Beautiful knife. Functions perfectly. And they do their plunge lock a little bit different than everybody else because they not only have like a plunger that almost covers 99% of the blade time, but the way it works is that they have like a compression washer. Is that the way to do it? Because it sort of looks like a clutch plate that you would use in a high-performance Harley-Davidson engine or transmission that you have to change if you add more horsepower to your bike. You have to change the clutch plate. And it's like a big giant flat plate that's got a little concaveness to it, and then when you tighten up, it presses on the clutch pieces or whatever. But this one presses on the blade tank. And so it pushes the blade tank to a certain point where it's always like nice and tight. So if your knife ever gets loose, if you have one of these and it does start to get a little bit loose, I bet you it's the compression spring. And I would say when you tighten these up, don't over tight them because you might damage that spring. I would just tighten it up to where it's tight and the blade's not moving around no more. But don't over tighten it. And if it does come loose, do like I did. Mine came loose a little bit, and that's how I found out about it, because I took it apart. But if it does come loose, just use a little bit of blue Loctite. That's all I did on this one, and let it dry overnight, and it'll be perfectly fine, and you'll never have that issue again. That's the case with this one. This one's been carried to work a lot because I like how the blade shape is an excellent slicing knife, and the blade, the thickness behind the edge, it's excellent for slicing. This is AR RPM 9 powdered steel from Artisan. This is a proprietary. It's made out of their proprietary part. What you call it? A powdered steel. And it's supposed to be, equivalent to like a 9CR type steel. It's like on that level. It's meant to be like a budget powdered steel that they can use on their less expensive knives, and that still gives you a lot of performance, or comparable to like a 440 HC or something, 440C, hard carbon steel. That's what it's more comparable to, or something along that line. So far, I haven't had to resharpen it. All the knives I have with AR RPM 9, I haven't them resharpened any of them. But then again, I don't do super heavy duty cutting chores. I do, cheese, salami, food prep, things like that. And that's the reason why I like these thin blade knives, because they're excellent for work. Because I could use them for my food prep. Excellent knives. That's the CJRB logo, made by Artisan Knives, Artisan Cutlery. Next up, these are some of my favorites here. I love these Kaisers. This is the Assassin XL. This is not the 3-inch Assassin. This is a 3.5-inch Assassin. Assassin XL. Absolutely love this knife. Uh-oh, Juno's knocking over stuff. That's okay, sweetie. Don't worry about it. Juno knocked over something. Sorry about that, people. Assassin XL. It has micarta handle scales, a 154 cm blade, and the blade thickness is a little bit thicker. I can't remember. Let me measure it. Zero back out again. Okay. 2.54. I'm gonna do it again just to make sure. It seemed like it was a little bit thicker than that, like it's supposed to. I think the batteries in my calipers are starting to wear out. 0. Okay. Now it says 2.78. I think that's right. I think it's supposed to be like a 2.75 or something like that. That's right. 2.878. I said 2.80. That's a very nice knife. Absolutely love it. You don't need to change anything on it either, because the micarta is very nice. I like the way the backspacer is made. Nice deep carry pocket clip, flush screws. It's very well made. And I like Kaiser's billboarding. I like the way they mark their blades, and they let you know what kind of steel it is and everything. That's one thing I don't like about Simcut and Civivi. They don't billboard on their blades, but that's cool though. But I do like to at least know what kind of steel the knife is, because I keep things for a long time, and 5 or 6, 10 years from now, I'll forget what all these kind of steels are, because I've moved on to so many other knives, and I'll forget. And like with my cold steels, it's easy to do, because like all the knives pretty much that aren't marked that are cold steels, those are pretty much all Oz 8 knives. Because for a long period of time, Cold Steel didn't put blade steel markings on their knives. They only did it on a couple models, like the AK-47 and the Tylite 6, or the Tylites. Most of their other knives, like the Voyagers and all the others, the Recons, everything else, they didn't put the markings on them. Tal Wars, they didn't put markings on them. And those knives are usually, you can usually bet your bottom dollar that those are Oz 8 knives. It wasn't until after they stopped using Oz 8 that they start marking everything. Awesome knife. Another great one. I highly recommend it. This one has been the most carried since I purchased it out of all these. Before I purchased this one was the most carried. This one was the most carried. I love the Conspirator. But when I got this one, it was the right size. And which one is this? The Bag Glider XL. The Bag Glider XL. Highly recommend this for, somebody likes bigger knives and likes plunge locks or button locks. This one's awesome. That's one thing I do on this one though a lot. When you saw it fail right there, it's because when I open it like that, lots of times my finger will hit the thumb. My thumb will hit the button as I open it, and so I unlock it as I open it. I do that accidentally sometimes on this one because the button does protrude out pretty far. Whereas like on the Sin Cut, that's pretty flush. Let me see, which one does it really good? This one is the best. I like the way this button is the best out of all of them. Why? Because see how it's like, I'm trying to show you. See how it's almost flush with the scale? So that makes it hard to accidentally disengage it. You have to push down a little bit further on it. Actually, when it comes out though, let me see something. Compare something. Okay, that one's not too bad. Same thing with that one. Okay, that one's pretty good. That one's really good. That one's protrudes a little bit more than the other Civivis. The Cogent, the button sticks out a little bit further on the Cogent than the Conspirator and the Chevalier. It's probably something that they changed after, because this was the first one. They didn't make these two when this one first came out. And this one's not that bad, and this one's rounded. The button's rounded. So it has a really nice button, the way it feels on your finger when you use it. It's got the most comfortable feeling button out of all of them. This one's rounded too. But this one protrudes out pretty high. I don't know if you guys can see that. And that's how you accidentally can disengage it when you're opening it. Now if you open it if you put your finger back here behind the button, then you're okay. But my habit is I like to open these like this. I just use sort of like my knuckle, like that. And if you do that, then you can accidentally hit this button. Let me see if I can fail it again. Oh, now it's not going to do it. There I go. I did it that time. I did it on purpose, though. But that's how this. But other than that, this knife works perfect. I mean, that's just me. That's my issue. That's not the knife. This knife functions flawlessly, and I've been carrying it for a while now. For several months since I've had it, because I've had it pretty much all summer. This knife is awesome. I absolutely love this knife. This is my favorite plunge lock of the year, I would say. The one that I like the best. And the reason why I like it better than the others is because of the size. It's because of the size. Let's get down to it. Because other than that, they're all pretty much the same. But I like the size of the Bag Glider XL the best. Which one would I like? Which one I think has the best grip after that? Or two? Let's say two that have the best grip. It would be the Chevalier and the Lago. Because this one, your hand fits all the way into the handle and the grip too. So I think this is a very safe knife too. The Civivi Chevalier. But it's not my favorite looking one though. I think it's my least favorite as far as the looks are concerned out of all of them. But I absolutely love the way it feels in my hand. It feels really good in my hand. Now if you just need a tool, this is an awesome knife. This would be an awesome tool. This one, this feels like It's a sliver axe, which is one of my favorite knives. It also feels like American Lawman, which is one of my favorite knives. Mixed together with like these types of knives with thin blade stock, and it's real slicey, almost a full flat ground. It's like a high flat ground blade. It's very, very good as a cutter. This one, to me, is probably the best one out of all these as a cutter. You know, if you're slicing things and doing food prep and things like that. Excellent knife. The Watuga. I just like this one. And on these are to me that the grips aren't as safe feeling, because even though they have flippers, the flippers aren't big enough. I wish the flipper was just a little bit longer, or maybe they had a little bit more finger groove in here, so your finger would sit in there a little bit deeper. Because this one feels like if somebody was, or if you hit something really hard and the lock fell, this one feels like it might fold in on you. That's the only thing bad about that one. And the same thing goes for the Crawley. The Crawley's a little bit better than the Watuga, but it still feels like if this got hit hard enough, it would fold in on my hand. Now this one is the best one out the bunch as far as safety is concerned, because I think this one you're okay. I don't think this one can fold in on your hand, because it has that nice big finger groove, and that's what's important. And even if I go into this grip and the blade fails, it still can't fold in. So out of these, the one I would pick the best, I think is the safest one, is a sachet. The sachet, let's put these away. This one feels pretty safe too. The Cogent feels really safe. This one, no. Even though I really like the knife, it's not what I would call a really safe one. This one's super safe. And my favorite, it's close. If the finger groove was more like this one can make the bunch. But I'm gonna put it to the side though. Even though the Conspirators, like, it's always been my favorite out of the bunch, but these are the ones I would say that are safe. As self-defense tools also. I think they would make, not only great folders, great pocket knives, great Christmas gifts, I think they also make great self-defense tools if need be. Because I think these are all safe to use in a self-defense situation. All right, people? And that's those. Now let's talk about my other suggestions. The other ones I tried out this year. I'm gonna go through them a little bit quicker because I see we're starting to burn up some time on the clock here. Let me get organized here. Try to keep them in the order that I purchased them. All right. The next up are my favorite little blades, though. My all-time favorite little blades, people, for this year are, yes, these are the rulers of the little blades. These are my favorite little work knives. Absolutely love these knives. They're not better slicers than these. These are better slicers. That's why sometimes when I go to work and I'm gonna have some salami and cheese or something like that I know I'm gonna need to slice, I'll take one of these, especially like this one, the Lago. That's been my favorite. The Lago and the big one, the Bag Lighter XL. But when I'm not doing something like that, these are always in my pocket. I've even used these for slicing and stuff too. It's just that they're more like a wedge type blade, because it's a lower flat ground type blade. I don't know if you can see that right there, but it's got the flats like right here. So you got the wedge right here. So when you're slicing things, it sort of pushes them apart, like if you're batoning through wood with a nicely wedged blade, or a blade with a medium grind or high flat grind. Absolutely love these. This is the carbon fiber one. It's just a Oz, I think it's an Oz 10. Yep, Oz 10A. It's one of the original ones. I think I got it at the Knife Center. I'm pretty sure I got most of mine at the Knife Center. This has the Andrew Demko, or John Demko. It has the John Demko carbon fiber scales. These aren't laminate scales. These are real carbon fiber scales made by John Demko and sold through the Knife Center. And the reason why I know that, because I talked to John Demko when he fixed this knife for me. He does the only scales that he doesn't make are the ones that are made out of Grivex or Grivery. Those are ones that are made in Taiwan. But all the other scales, the G10 scales and everything else, he makes. Except for the knives that come from Taiwan, those are all made in Taiwan or whatever. But like if you get a S model or regular 80-20 with any kind of scale other than a Grivex scale, it's made by John Demko at their shop in Wampum, PA. And this one's the Jade Grivery. And this one's the Oz 10 also, Oz 10A also. I chose the Oz 10s to be like my regular folders for everyday carry because you don't have to worry about them rusting. Especially with the DLC coating. These will probably never rust. Absolutely love these. Highly recommend the 80-20s as gifts. They are awesome knives. Any knife person's gonna love those knives. Next one up, I'm gonna go with this one. I don't know if you can still get these, but if you can, this is super awesome for a knife guy. Yeah, super awesome. I'd put this down as super awesome. If you're able to get them a Lindsey Thompson Spartan. These are super awesome. I've seen them as low as like $150 now at like Midway. So I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but for $150, this is worth $150 all day long. You're talking a S35 VM blade that's thick and big. This is a 4.5-inch blade, and in a thick American G10 handle scales, super strong handle scales. This is not some cheap G10. This is the real deal. Nice G10 backspacer. This is a beautiful knife. Beautiful knife. Beautiful knife. Highly recommended. Highly, 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 highly recommended. Next up is one of my all-time favorite classics, but this one is a new one for this year. Replaced my old CTS 6HP version. This S35VN one, hollow ground, Recon 1, DLC coated, G10 handle scales, heat-treated aluminum backspacer, Triad lock. Another one that's awesome. This one gets carried all the time too. Another one that's awesome, people. Highly recommend them. Highly recommend it. Can't go wrong with a cold steel Triad knife. If you want a real self-defense folder, this is what you get. You get a cold steel Triad. That's what you get. If you want to, they make them all different kinds of sizes and shapes. You don't have to get this one, but they make all different kinds of sizes and shapes. What's important is that you get one with a Triad lock. That's what's important. Triad lock is like a folding fixed blade folder. It's about as close as you can get to having a fixed blade. If you're like me, if you can't carry fixed blades concealed legally, but you can carry these all day long, this is the way to go. It's a great utility knife, and it's an awesome self-defense folder. This one has a Snaggletooth MF snag on it. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, snagger or whatever. But I absolutely love these. I put them on a lot of my knives. A lot of my knives I like to carry in my front right pocket. I will put these on if they don't already have some way to deploy it straight out the pocket. They work perfectly. I like the aluminum ones. This is an aluminum one. And instead of using their hardware, I just reuse the cold steel hardware because I like the way this feels in my finger a little bit better. Absolutely love it, people. Recon 1. Here's another great new one for this year that I tried out this year. It's a brand new model for this year. It's a Tonto. 8010 Tonto. This is amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. It's so smooth and it feels so good in your hand. The only thing I don't like about it is these big old pocket clips. I wish somebody would make some slimmer, maybe blacked out pocket clips or something that's a little bit less noticeable. Because I don't need that big giant pocket clip, big giant flashy pocket clip. But these are like super smooth. All these knives work with phosphor bronze washers, which are like super, that's the way you want to go if you want a super durable, a super heavy duty knife. You don't want it to be on bearings. You want it to have phosphor bronze washers. These knives are all meant to be strong, super heavy duty knives that a soldier can, be great for a soldier or self-defense, what have you. And they make them with different finishes. Now they're making the 8010s. I haven't seen the Tonto blade yet, but I've seen them with like OD green handle scales and DLC. I don't know if it's a DLC coated. That I think they just say black finish, which makes me wonder what it is, because I like to know if it's DLC or if it's Tough X. I don't like Tough X. But if it's a DLC coating on it, that's awesome. Or even like if it was a Cerakote or something else like that, or like a PVD. They need to let people know what it is. But to me, the best coating is the DLC. So you can get them all blacked out now. That's all I'm saying. But I haven't seen one with the Tonto blade yet. If they come out with the Tonto blade one, you know who's going to get one, right? I know y'all know. Because I absolutely love this knife. This is an awesome knife. 3.5-inch blade. And it's 3.8 millimeters thick, too. It's a thick 3.5-inch blade. Next one up. The American Ultimate Hunter. The Ultimate Hunter, that's the name. Ultimate Hunter. This is another great knife. And the blade is very similar to a standard 8010. But this is much lighter weight, doesn't weigh that much. Weighs, I think, under 5 ounces, like 4.9 maybe. Feels like it's lighter than 5 ounces. It's got G10 handle scales. This one has the orange G10. You can get them an orange G10, far as I know, or a black G10. I have both. I have a black G10 one also. I have the older one with the CTS 6HP steel. This one is S35 steel. It's got the new markings for this year. It's purchased this year. Absolutely love these. I've loved these for a long time, though. That's nothing new. Just like all of these, I've loved for a long time. This one, I have a couple of them, but I never really carried them. But I've been carrying this one. I like this one. I bought 2 of these. I have 2 of these. This is the one I carry. And next up, the Atlas Lock Engage. 3.5-inch Atlas Lock Engage. S35 VM blade, G10 handle scales, contoured, 3D contoured, deep carry pocket clip. That's the way it came. They didn't use flush mounted screws though, but that's okay. That's the first time I've ever seen Cold Steel use a deep carry pocket clip. So we'll let them slide on the screws. But this thing is so smooth. It is so smooth. It's not an axis lock. It's a little bit different, but it does sort of operate in the same way. It's just a little bit different. And you know what? I like this lock too. But I saw in Gideon's tackle where he did some batoning with his, and then it developed up and down blade play. So I wouldn't baton with one of these. I wouldn't baton with the shark lock either. I wouldn't do that either. Or a Plunge-Lock knife. I wouldn't baton with any of those kind of knives, because the tolerances are so tight. I could picture that the pounding or whatever could probably, might deform something slightly, and then you would get that up and down blade play that you would never be able to get rid of. So I wouldn't use that kind of knife for that. These kind of knives are better for, to me, like ones with these fidgety locks. I'm not calling it a fidgety lock. I'm calling like a lock that you can open and close with one hand like this. Most locks like this, they have a lot of parts in them, and I could see how if you pound on something, you might knock something out of perfect alignment or something, and it would develop some issues. So I wouldn't recommend that for any of these kind of locks. Even if the knife looks heavy duty, I wouldn't use it like if it was a triad folder. A triad folder, it readjusts itself. So it's a little bit different. Just keep moving. And this one, oh, these are my favorites. These are my favorites for this past year. They're my S models. Absolutely love them. This one I made, or didn't make it, but I put it together with custom handles, custom back spacers, everything. Everything was all custom on it. From the OG, original goat. And this was the least expensive way to modify them, and I like this one the best. And I did titanium and all that stuff on a couple of them. I got a couple titanium ones. But I like this one the best. And this is the one that John Demko refurbished for me that I bought off of eBay, and I got it. It had some issues. And John totally refurbished it, gave it a new shark lock or shark fin. And it works perfectly. Put orange G10 handle scales on it. It had yellow Grivery scales at first. And this one was sharpened by Apostle P. It's got the polished edge on it. D2. Also have an L-Max and an M391. I don't have the S45EN yet. I might get one of those too. But anyway, people, these are the knives I recommend for holidays. And this will be the first video. I hope you all enjoy. These are all the ones out my box that I've been carrying all year. They're all excellent knives. They are all absolutely excellent knives. I highly recommend all of these. The ones for heavier duty use would be the cold steel triads. I wouldn't recommend the Atlas lock for, I know the Atlas lock is advertised as being stronger than a triad. Don't believe that. I don't think it is. I don't think any lock's stronger than a triad, ounce for ounce, pound for pound, whatever it may be. I think that one rules. Let's do it like this. It'll fit better. All right, people. This is my box for this year. And that concludes this video. Hope everybody's doing good. Got a couple more videos I'm going to give you before Gobble Gobble Day. And all my recommendations for Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. Because I know all these sales are coming up. And these are the ones I would recommend. If you want a Plunge-Lock folder, I would recommend one of these. One of these that you saw me showing you today. If you want a triad folder, these are the ones I tried for this year. But any triad folder is going to be good. Same thing with any Demko folder is going to be good. So it's just a matter of which one you want. But anyway, peace out. Stiletto. Peace.